Have you ever logged into your mobile banking app and been shocked by how low your balance is and wondered,
Where's my money? Where's my money?
if you can relate, then you're not alone. A recent survey revealed that 83% of Americans consistently overspend their budgets and have to use credit cards to make up the difference. It should be no surprise then to hear that almost 70% of American households live paycheck to paycheck, having less than $1,000 in savings and on average carrying over $6,000 in credit card debt. Month after month, these people are struggling to keep their heads above the water. So you might be asking, how can you avoid this fate? Well, you're in luck, because in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create an effective budget that's going to allow you to cover all your expenses and to also invest in your future. Now, to simplify things, we're going to break down this process into 6 easy to follow steps. First step to developing an effective budget is to create financial goals. Financial goals are going to serve as the roadmap and clarify what you're trying to achieve and provide you with the motivation to stick to your budget and push through obstacles when challenges arise. I recommend using the SMART goal strategy to create your financial goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, let's say one of your goals is that we want to create an emergency fund so we can avoid credit card debt in the future. Now, to make this into a SMART goal, you're going to want to use the following format. First, it has to be specific. Rather than just saying, I want to save money for an emergency fund, which is super vague, we instead are going to specify, I want to save $6,000 for an emergency fund in the next year. However, that's still too vague. What we need to do is we need to pick a specific date. So let's say today is April 1st, 2024. Our SMART goal is then going to be, I want to save $6,000 for an emergency fund by April 1st, 2025. By defining specifically what we want to achieve, we're eliminating all the ambiguity, and now we can hyper-focus on our efforts on achieving this goal. Our goal must also be measurable. By quantifying our goals, $6,000, we can now track our progress, which is going to keep us motivated and allow us to make any needed adjustments along the way. Now, we need to figure out how much we're going to have to save each of the next 12 months in order to reach our goal. So to reach our goal, we're going to have to budget $500 a month into our savings. Next, that brings us to achievable. Is saving $500 a month realistic given our current state of our finances? If it's not, then we're going to have to scale down that goal to something more achievable, say maybe $3,000. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure by reaching for a goal that's impossible. Alternatively, maybe we can cut back on dining out or canceling unnecessary subscriptions, or possibly increase our income through a second job or a side gig. Next, you want to make sure that your goal is relevant. Does having an emergency fund match our long-term plans? Well, having an emergency fund is going to help me avoid accruing credit card debt in the future, which will enable me to not have to pay the credit card companies a bunch of interest. So I'll be able to save that money instead and then invest it in assets that are going to pay me interest. So yeah, I would say it's super relevant. Again, it's about choosing goals that are important to you and fit with your life plans. Finally, it must be time-bound. By establishing a deadline, 12 months, it creates a sense of urgency. And that's how you create SMART goals. Now, some other SMART goals you may want to consider are paying off any debt, saving for retirement, saving for a down payment on a house or maybe even a car. Now that you've developed goals, you can move on to step 2, which is determining your income. Determining your income is crucial for creating an effective budget. If you receive a consistent paycheck, say either weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly, this step is going to be pretty simple. Simply, you're going to have to look at your bank account or pay stubs and find what your net income, which is your take-home pay after all the taxes and deductions have been removed from your paycheck. This figure is what we call the disposable income, which is the amount that's actually going to show up in your bank account that you're going to use for savings, expenses, and investments. Now, those with irregular incomes like freelancers, contractors, gig workers, or people who earn commissions, this is going to be a little bit more daunting of a challenge. Since your income can vary from month to month, you're going to need to calculate an average income to base your financial planning on. To do this, you're going to have to gather your income from, say, the last 3 to 6 months, Add up all the income that you received during this period and then divide it by the number of months to get your average monthly income. Let's say, for example, you took home $12,000 over the last 3 months, then your average income is going to be $4,000. This average gives you a more stable figure to work with, although it's wise to err on the side of caution in case of lower earning months. For those with fluctuating incomes, adjusting your average income calculation regularly is going to be crucial. For example, if you're a real estate agent and you know you're super busy during the spring and summer months, but then it kind of slows down during the late fall or winter months, you're going to have to make regular adjustments throughout the year to help you avoid overestimating your income. Regardless of your income, it's your net income that's a key figure for budgeting and planning. This is the money that you actually have control over. Once you've correctly determined your net income, you're now ready for step 3, which is calculating your monthly spending. Now, to do this, you're going to collect all your recent bank and credit card statements going back several months, which will give you a comprehensive view of your spending. Once you've collected the necessary documentation, you're going to begin the process by categorizing your expenses. Essentials are your necessary living expenses, such as housing, utilities, insurance premiums, and groceries, amongst other things. These are your non-negotiables, the costs that you must cover to maintain your basic standard of living. Now, the second category, non-essentials, that's going to include expenditures like eating out, leisure activities, hobbies, and any other purchases outside your basic needs. While these expenses can enrich our lives, they're luxuries, and when push comes to shove, it's the first area to look at when you need to tighten your budget and cut expenses. Now, remember, balance is vital. The purpose of a budget is to highlight areas where you can adjust and identify harmful spending habits. The goal is not to stress over every small little purchase, but to gain a clear understanding of your financial habits, which is going to help you make informed decisions. Now that you've calculated your monthly expenses, you're ready to tackle step 4, which is choosing your budget method. Now, the secret to good budgeting is picking the strategy that fits your personality. You need to try out different budgeting approaches and see which one works best for your finances and objectives. Now, there are 4 main budgeting approaches. The first system is what we call the envelope system or the cash stuffing system. It's a hands-on approach to budgeting in which you distribute your spending money into different envelopes, each labeled for a specific expense category like groceries, entertainment, dining out. It's particularly effective for those who prefer to see and feel where their money is going, physically limiting the spending in each category to what's inside that envelope. I recommend this strategy for new budgeters or overspenders. The second strategy is the 50-30-20 plan, which is ideal for those seeking a straightforward budgeting framework. This rule suggests allocating 50% of your income to essential expenses like rent and bills, and 30% to personal wants such as dining out or hobbies, and then the remaining 20% for savings and paying off debts. It's a balanced approach that covers all the bases, needs, wants, and financial goals. Now, the third approach is what we call the zero-based budgeting method, and in this strategy, every dollar you earn is assigned a specific purpose, ensuring that your income minus your expenses equals 0 at the end of the month. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to spend all your money, but rather that you're going to allocate it towards expenses, savings, and debt repayment, making every dollar work efficiently. This is a great method for maximizing savings and accelerating debt payoff. Now, the final strategy is a reverse budgeting strategy, which is a simplified approach focusing on your savings goal before accounting for other expenses. Instead of starting with your income and then subtracting expenses to see what's left over for savings, you're going to flip that process upside down. Here's how it works. You're going to begin by deducting how much you want to save each month, whether it's for an emergency fund, retirement, vacation, or any other financial goal. And then you're going to set up a direct deposit for that certain amount of your paycheck to go directly into your savings or your investment accounts. The remaining income will then be used to cover living expenses such as rent, utilities, groceries, and entertainment. For example, if you want to save and invest 20% of your pay, you're going to schedule a direct deposit in the amount to occur every payday. Each of these budgeting blueprints offer their own unique way to manage your finances, catering to different preferences and financial situations. Experimenting with these methods can help you find the budget strategy that fits your lifestyle. Now, my personal strategy is using a combination of elements from the different budgeting strategy. From the reverse budgeting system, I use the strategy of paying myself first. I set up a direct deposit from every paycheck into my savings accounts and investment accounts, which takes it completely out of my control and ensures that contributions are going to be made no matter what is going on in my life. Far too many people set up their budgets and tell themselves that whatever's left over at the end of the month, that's the money that I'm going to put into savings. But then the end of the month comes and all the money's gone and there is no savings. I then use the 50-30-20 rule as my budgeting framework. However, I also use the envelope strategy to deal with any problem areas in which I know I need to spend more wisely. For example, grocery shopping. If I budget $200 weekly for groceries, but every time I go to the store and I've spent $250, that's an issue. So the next time I'm going to take $200 cash and leave my cards at home, which is going to force me to stick to my budget. I also like doing this with spending money or pocket change. I allocate about $50 a week for myself. And once I've spent it, I know I can no longer get any more soda from the gas station or Starbucks or whatever. Now that we've created our budget, we can move on to step 5, which is tracking our spending. Tracking your spending is super important for handling your money well. It's about understanding where your money goes. Using a budget app like Rocket Money, which connects directly to your bank accounts, it can make it really easy to watch your expenses and organize them without much work. Here's why it's a great idea. The app updates transactions instantly, so you can see what you're spending money on as it happens, which helps you spot your spending patterns pretty early. This app also sorts your spending into categories like food, bills, or eating out. This makes it really easy to see where most of your money is going and helps you find ways to save. It also shows you if you're spending more than you planned. Knowing this will let you fix things quickly so you can stick to your budget. This means that you can make smarter choices about where to cut back or spend a bit more, matching your spending to your financial goals. Now on to the final step, which is sticking to your budget. Remember, it's normal for your first few budgets to be flawed, and honestly, they're probably going to suck, but don't give up. Realize that every mistake is an opportunity to learn and to get better. Make sure to regularly update your budget. Adjust your spending to match your habits. If you spend too much in one area or need more in another, just make the adjustments. This doesn't mean that you failed. It's just adapting to your needs and life changes. Remember, this is about your future. Budgeting isn't just a monthly task. It's a tool that you're using to help shape your financial future. Regularly remind yourself why you're doing this. You don't want to be part of the 70% that's living paycheck to paycheck. You want better for your life, and I know you can do it. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video until the end. If you found this guide helpful, hit that like button and subscribe, and then share it with friends who you think could also benefit from mastering their budget. If you got any questions or tips of your own, drop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond.